Have you ever heard a story about friendship giving someone wings? Well, today we're diving into a classic tale that's way more than just a simple fable. It's a story about a big dream, a whole lot of trust, and one single, really bad decision. Get ready for the story of the Flying Tortoise.
All right, so to really get this story, we've got to start at the beginning. And our story begins in what seems like a perfect little world, a peaceful pond that's about to have its whole world turned upside down.
So I want you to picture this, a really beautiful, quiet village. You know the kind where life just seems to move at a slower, gentler pace. And at the heart of this village was this big, beautiful pond, just filled with this amazing, clear blue water. It was more than just a spot on a map, though.
It was a home.
And living in this perfect little pond was our main character, a tortoise who was just completely happy with his life. I mean, what's not to love? Sunbathing on the shore, taking a nice cool dip in the water. By all accounts, life was pretty darn good.
But, that kind of perfect peace doesn't always last. For our tortoise, a couple things were about to happen that would bring some amazing new friends and a really, really big problem.
So one day, out of the blue, two incredible, graceful swans just land at the pond. And you know what? An amazing friendship starts to form. A tortoise and two swans. Who'd have thought? They became the best of friends, meeting up every single day to just hang out and chat by the water.
And then, disaster. A really bad drought hits the area, and the tortoise's beautiful, watery home starts to vanish. Day by day, the water level dropped, leaving nothing but cracked, dry earth behind. And you can just imagine how sad and worried our tortoise was getting. Now, the swans couldn't stand seeing their friends so miserable, so they put their heads together and came up with a really clever and honestly a pretty wild plan to save him. They went to their friend and made a promise. They said, "Hey, don't you worry. We're going to get you out of here. We'll take you to another pond, one that's still full of water."
But how on earth do you get a tortoise to fly? Well, the plan was actually pretty simple, but brilliant. The two swans would each grab the end of a strong stick in their beaks. The tortoise would bite down hard right in the middle, and then, together, they'd all fly to safety.
But the swans gave him one absolutely critical warning, a single rule that the entire plan depended on. They said, "You have to hold on to this stick with all your might, but no matter what happens, do not open your mouth while we're in the air."
Okay, so the plan is set. The warning has been given. Let's get to the flight itself and see how this incredible and kind of crazy journey plays out.
And with that, they were off. Can you imagine? For the very first time in his life, the tortoise was flying, seeing the world from high above the clouds. It must have been amazing. But as they flew over the village, people on the ground looked up and, well, they couldn't believe their eyes. They started pointing and laughing at this totally bizarre sight.
And hearing all that laughter from down below, the tortoise started to get angry. Its pride was hurt. It thought to itself, "Why are they laughing at me? What's so funny?" And right here, this is the most important moment in the whole story. The tortoise is angry, it's forgotten the swan's warning, and it's about to make a terrible choice. So what do you think it's going to do? Filled with anger, wanting to yell something back at the villagers, he did the one thing he absolutely wasn't supposed to do. He opened his mouth.
And in that one single foolish instant, the story takes a tragic turn. The second his mouth opened, his grip was gone. He let go of the stick and he fell, all the way from the sky down to the ground.
Wow, that is a rough ending to a story that started with so much hope. But in this tale of friendship and, well, foolishness, there are some really powerful lessons for all of us. So what can we actually learn from the tortoise's fall? You know, this story might seem simple, but it actually teaches us a couple of really deep things about being human. Things that are just as true for us today as they were back then. So, this story leaves us with two big takeaways. First, the power of focus. The tortoise was this close to reaching his goal, but just one moment of distraction cost him everything. And second, it's a huge reminder of how destructive things like anger and pride can be. He let what a few strangers thought get to him, and it led to his downfall. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Sometimes the biggest dangers we face aren't out there in the world, but right inside our own heads, our own feelings and reactions.